Allison, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Really good. Such a pleasure to chat to you again. So,
So,
first question, most difficult question, and you can't say any of your movies, but what is your favorite scary movie of all time?
okay, I have questions to answer your question.
Okay.
Favorite meaning I've seen it the most times, or I saw it once, I can never see it again. It was too scary, but I respect it.
Let's go both. Let's go favorite and then maybe scariest for the second answer.
Okay, for reasons I don't totally understand, I watched The Ring like as if it were part of my like chores. I watched it a lot when it came out. And I was terrified of it. It ruined like drains and wells and girls combing their hair. Like it just made a permanent impact. And it was a favorite, but it was also terrifying. I haven't seen it in years. I like couldn't. I'm not brave enough. The one that freaked me out so much because maybe of the age I was when I saw it was Sixth Sense. That really like stuck with me. I don't know if I could stomach it today, but yeah, I mean, there have been so many since then. They just freak me out. I'm very skittish.
And yet you're involved in so many kind of modern
Yeah.
classic horror movies. Like it must be like a therapy almost, where you're like, if I get to
It's
surround myself with
immersion
it
therapy.
and I
But
see
here's
how
what's
it
so
works.
strange. Here's what's so strange. It doesn't work. I have now made three like movies with jump scares with a lot of blood where they're scary. And when I watch those movies and I've seen every like cut of them, I'm not at all afraid. But then I go into watching, someone described Barbarian to me and I didn't sleep for like 3 nights. Just a verbal, like back in like Homer times. If Homer had told me the story of Barbarian, I would not have been able to sleep for 3 days. It was a verbal telling of this story. No visuals. I didn't know what she looked like down there. I have subsequently Googled her. Oh my God. Um, yeah, so that's like my skin is thin.
Listen, it just means you get involved. You're emotionally involved.
My
I'm the same.
imagination runs with it though. It's terrible.
I get too invested in what I'm watching, and I forget that I'm watching a film, and then I end up throwing popcorn over anyone who's unfortunate to be sitting in. So I understand. I appreciate. One of the things that I did notice for M3GAN was that obviously completely different in terms of storytelling, but just like Get Out, it managed to balance horror and comedy so
Mm.
fantastically well. Like I was cackling multiple times through M3GAN, but
Good,
it
good,
is at
good.
times also very. Is that tricky when you're kind of acting it out? Because it's like when you read the script, you're like, this is funny, I think,
Yeah.
or do you just kind of immediately know?
Yeah, well, it's a total mixture. I give a ton of credit to Jordan for Get Out and Gerard for this movie. It's definitely like it requires someone with a very strong sense of tone, with a very strong point of view about how they want to portray something. On the script, some of these things, like the songs, like you're like, okay, I understand why this is uncanny and weird, but I'm not quite sure how it's going to be executed. And then last night I saw it in a full theater for the first time, and I was like, this is exactly what it's for. It's for a room full of people reacting to this at the same time. For people our age who know the song Titanium, when it starts, you're like, oh, I know why this is funny. I know the payoff. But for like my parents who don't know that song, they're listening to the lyrics like, why is everyone laughing? And then she gets to the final word of it, and you're like, oh, like it's one of those rolling things. So from an acting standpoint, comedy is very hard actually because the funniest people, the funniest characters don't know they're in a comedy. You just stay in the reality of it, knowing that if it's written well and if it's filmed well, it will be funny, hopefully. But it's not like Gemma's a funny gal. She's not making a ton of jokes in the movie. So it's one of those movies that is funny because of how it is made, not because of the people in it.
And one final quick one, if that's okay, just off the
Yeah.
back of the reactions that I saw from the premiere last night, and everyone
Yeah.
losing their minds, rightfully so. The
Yeah.
reactions were spot on, but everyone was like, the thing I seen the most was we have to get M3GAN and Chucky into the same movie.
Listen, everyone keeps saying this rivalry, rivalry. I don't understand what people like. What are you think? There's no
It doesn't have to
contest
even be a
here.
rivalry; they could be working together.
They could work together. She'd get so annoyed with him. She doesn't have room for anyone. She's not a team. She's not doing a project at school in a group. She's doing it by herself. She's the
Mm-hmm.
project leader. She's the project manager. She doesn't want dead weight. I think bless Chucky, he doesn't stand a chance. M3GAN, my girl, She's got this in the bag. If they're fighting, she's going to win. If they're in a team, she's going to get sick of him and get rid of him pretty early. She's got the whole internet in her head. She's very smart. She knows what she's doing. You know, I'm sorry. Like, total respect to Chucky. You have terrified me for my entire life. But we just made her different, you know?
Listen, the way there's a shorthand for Karen, there's now a shorthand for Megan. And we all
on the
know
carpet
Megan.
last night, someone was like, would you rather be followed around by a Karen or a Megan? And I was like, ooh, that's very hard. Yeah, it's a tough one.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Did Megan do something bad?
What's going on? What are you?
I'm Megan.
Baby, don't provoke, 'cause all we will